Good morning. My name is Roy Kirchner, and this is Secrets for Success. We come to you guys every single week for an hour each week to talk about tips and tricks on being better, being more successful in 2025. We'd love to engage with every single person. Again, my name is Roy Kirchner. I'm a serial entrepreneur here in Tampa Bay, Florida. Have several companies and have been on the Fast 50 with the Tampa Bay Business Journal for the fastest growing company, and just received Titan 100, one of the top awards for 100 CEOs in Tampa Bay. And literally, we just like to pour into everybody information to help you become better, more successful in business and life. And my co-host is JR, and I will let him introduce himself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roy. Good morning, everyone. My name is JR Espino. My company is Alloy Advisors, and I am a business coach. And ultimately, what I do is I help primarily small, medium businesses get to that next level, whether it is their financial performance and their profitability, or their company culture and employee engagement to ensure that they really have a workforce who's all moving forward in the same direction. I too am based here in the Tampa Bay area with Roy. And my story is a little bit different than Roy's in that I'm not a serial entrepreneur per se. I am somebody who has transitioned from corporate America after spending over 27 years with a multi-billion dollar company and transitioned into entrepreneurship and taking those experiences to small and medium businesses. And it's not to say that I don't work with larger businesses as well. So, as Roy mentioned, every single week we share some secrets, right? This session is called Secrets for Success in 2025. And we share some perspectives and insights for entrepreneurs and leaders, whether you are established, new, or even aspiring as an entrepreneur or as a leader. But some of the different things that we've experienced in order to help you get to that next level. So today's specific topic, it's something that rings true for so many of us. And that topic is from burnout to breakthrough. Basically, how to stay engaged, how to stay energized, focused, and unstoppable in 2025. So again, our topic today is from burnout to breakthrough. And first of all, I'll just say for our viewers, if you wouldn't mind putting into the chat, what's your number one burnout warning sign for you? And so, Roy, I must ask you a question. And so, from your perspective, what signs of burnout do most entrepreneurs miss until it's too late?
Is it's a mixture of business and life, right? It's the hardest, absolute hardest thing to ever juggle as an entrepreneur, and I don't care what any entrepreneur says, right? Typically, it's extremely hard to juggle all things that are going on between owning business, running a business, having team members, and then your personal life, which is rest, relaxation,
Mm,
right? It's family, sometimes it's spouse, sometimes it's children. It's really hard because the one main thing about being an entrepreneur that you have to understand is it never ever turns off. It
mm,
just doesn't. When you work for somebody, it actually should turn off. So if you actually are getting paid from an employer, right, and you are considered a employee, right, it is your right that you break free from that job and you have time for your family, you have time for your spouse, you have time for fun, all of these types of things. And I think that's the number one thing that people don't realize in entrepreneurship is it's all on you, right? It
yeah.
never turns off 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At the end of the day, it's you are the decision maker. You are the one that's running the ship. You are the one that if something goes wrong, it's got to be fixed. You are the call. So it's interesting because a lot of people are not made that way. And that is one reason why they say entrepreneurship is extremely hard. But the other reason that a successful entrepreneur is a one percenter. and a one percenter,
Mm,
because 99% of the people cannot navigate all of these things without some type of the word quit or
mm,
burnout, things like that, right?
mm.
So it's extremely always being a entrepreneur. It's learning how to become an entrepreneur is a challenge, right?
Yeah,
It's hard. It's a lonely place at the top. It
yeah.
truly is. The only person in the world that can understand what you are going through as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, is another business owner, entrepreneur that has been there, done that, has challenges, because your spouse, your family, they're not running your operation. They're not
Yeah.
in your operation. They can guide you, they can help you, but at the end of the day, they don't know what you're going through. The one mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make early on is they try to become friends with their team, right? And they
Mm,
don't know the balance between separation of, yeah, there's guidelines that have to be put into place, where it's always a balance. Like they are not the owner, they are not, unfortunately, in they're a friend. They can be a friend, but in a certain way, they can't
hmm.
be a full friend, because there's things that you as the owner you have to take on that nobody else understands that's going on. And then as you are growing and you have a senior leadership team, there's certain people within your senior leadership team that know what's going on, and those are higher up level executives, right? And those are people that you trust, that are helping you run a business and different things like that. So yeah, there's a lot to
Yeah.
talk about today. I'm going to
Yeah,
throw it back to you, JR. I hit on
yeah,
a lot of things right there.
exactly. And so, first of all, I also want to thank David and Jay and Matthew for tuning in today and joining us from the Tampa Bay area. Matthew, your response to the chat question, you find yourself getting tired when no outside factors are really coming into play. That indicates when it's time to reevaluate, look for an adjustment. And Jay, you said losing sight of what you were working towards. Sometimes we set goals and reach them and forget to realign vision, and you just continue to do day to day. That's really, really great insight. And so that's the thing too, is we're talking about as we're talking about going from burnout to breakthrough, what are some of those things that we might miss? And it's about energy. The first thing that we all need to ask ourselves, whether we're an entrepreneur or a leader, is why? Why are we doing those things? Right? I would often say to my workforce, my team, I would often say, look, we work to live. We don't live to work. We work so we can do the things we want to and need to with our family and friends. And as entrepreneurs, as executive leaders, or what have you, sometimes we put so much energy into our profession so that then we can do the things that we want to, need to with our family and friends, and we get burned out. And so we have to take that moment to reevaluate, just like Matthew said, reevaluate where we are in terms of our own energy. There's a reason for that R&R, rest and relaxation. We need to hit that reset button. Think of it this way. I don't know, maybe some of you may be too young to remember this, but I remember when I was a kid, I was playing on Nintendo, the original Nintendo, and it was getting all glitchy. What do? You press the reset button. You press the reset button so that then it can operate the right way. Because otherwise, it's just going to continue to go haywire on you. And that's the same type of thing that we have to apply to ourselves is, identifying for each of us as individuals, because we know ourselves best, right? I regularly say, nobody knows better than you what's happening here and here for you. And so you need to have that level of self-awareness so that then when you are feeling that you're going haywire, you're getting tired, you're getting fatigued. David says lack of patience and less church attendance, right? Not doing the things that you normally do. Those are things that then you need to ask yourself, gosh, why am I doing this? What do I need to do to get out of this in order for me to move forward? So, let's pivot that, Roy. I know that we've talked a lot in the past about having failure, and failure is actually a good thing because we get to learn from it, things like that. And so, we're talking about going from burnout to breakthrough. So, can you share a breakthrough moment you experienced after your own burnout?
Yeah. There's a point when I guess you would say that I have breakthroughs because I push myself to a limit that most people cannot push themselves to. Right. So I do, it's kind of interesting because we're just talking about this, but I do kind of burn myself out because I got to get to the next level. Right. And then I realize I'll catch myself and I'll take some R&R, and you have to mix that in. But you, as a one of the most important things in our daily lives, right, is you have to realize how to, and he said it best, like in here, like stop within a week, a day, like go to church or something like that, right? So I have routines. I have routines, guys. Like I have 100% routines. Like I get up, there's certain things that I do. I go to the gym, and people say, well, you go to the gym to work out. No, I go to the gym because every single thing that, and I've said this before, but every single thing that gets under my skin, everything that can make me explode, I hold in, and then I go to the gym and I push it out. So that is like my release. I figured out that that was my thing. So I'm not there to get like in my head. I'm not there to get bigger, stronger, better. I'm there to release everything that drives me crazy. But that is my release, right? So people have to
Mhm.
have a release, and then you have to know how far you can push yourself to barriers within yourself, and then know when you need to take a vacation or take some time off, those types of things. So I think structure is vital and necessary within the entrepreneurship world, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but being an entrepreneur, you are like you're gonna push yourself to limits that you never thought you could.
Yeah.
And you're going, if you want to be successful, I'm just
Yeah.
being honest. If you want to be successful, you're going to push yourself to limits that you never thought you could, because typically it just stacks upon you. Like one major thing happens that's not good, and then another major thing happens, and then another, and then another, and then another.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I made it through all those, right? So it just happened to me the other day. Like let's get into this a little bit, right? I just got hit like three things that were really like just bad, right? Like stuff was going on. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to somebody and they were like, listen, it's out of your hands. It's in God's hands, right?
Mhm.
And I really let that sink in. And then it was because it made me think like I've been through worse shit than this. And I made it through that. But before that, I wasn't thinking of that, right? And before that, I wasn't putting that faith out there, right? And some people have faith, some people don't, what like whatever. But the point that I'm getting across is you've made it through things in your life, and you think at that point in time, that struggle, you didn't think you could make it through, but you actually do, right? You have the resilience,
Mhm.
the grit, the determination, all of these types of things. And that is defining you, whether it doesn't matter if you're a business owner, you're an employee, it doesn't matter. It's you determining yourself where you want to go. There's too many people that just they don't want to be on a roller coaster, right? And I think that's wrong. Like we're here to become something. We're here to get to the next level. So if you're just coasting, right, and you're on that straight and narrow, and the reason why people are on that is they're comfortable, right? Or they don't want to take chances, or they don't like change. But guess what? Life is change. It's gonna
Mhm.
happen, right?
Mhm.
So those types of things I think are vital.
Yeah,
Yeah, Joe.
yeah, it really is. And, a lot of what you're talking about is what our viewers are even chatting about as well. So Tiffany says when emotions take over logical compartmentalization and planning, that she's being burned out. Matthew talks about his personal spiritual relationship taking a hit is a good reminder to reevaluate for sure. Even Claudine says, yeah, faith is a huge factor first and foremost, and that understanding that why drives a person and saying the volumes. And then finally, too, Tiffany says that she's fortunate that her husband and son pay attention, take stock of her mental emotional state. And so that's actually an example of what I experienced from a breakthrough moment. So long ago, when I was living in the Chicago area, I was with that corporation and I was commuting roughly 55 miles one way every day in Chicago. And that's not great. you know,
That's a really bad situation to be in.
really bad. And so what that meant was is that I needed to leave really early to beat traffic, and then I would leave work very, very late. And prior to that role, I used to travel quite a bit to the extent that I was a regular at Chicago O'Hare Airport, and I knew all the tricks. I was on an airplane every 3 weeks, and I left my family to travel. But then when I was in this other role and commuting, I wasn't traveling the same amount of time. I was at home. There was one day, Roy, where I was driving to work and I get a call from my home telephone number. I'm like, what the heck is happening? This isn't normal to get a phone call. And so I answer the phone, and then my now late wife, she says, hey, Danny, our daughter, wants to talk to you. So get on the phone, and Danny, now she was little at this time. She was 6 years old. She is crying. And I'm like, what's the matter? She says, Daddy, I miss you. And it was in that moment that I realized that they were recognizing even some burnout as well, because I was leaving, before the sun came up and getting
Yeah.
home after the sun came down, and I didn't see my daughter. And so that burnout, not only was it affecting me, but it was affecting her. And it goes back to, well, why do we do the things that we want to? In terms of whether it's our spirituality and our faith, the energy that we have, doing the things, working to live versus living to work, all those different things. And it was like a big, like punch in the gut, like, JR, man, why are you doing this? And is this the right thing? And, I was able to figure it out and then have a breakthrough and then decide, okay, how am I going to approach this a little bit differently in order to meet the needs of the business as well as the needs of my family, and frankly, my family is the most important thing, right? And so it is a matter of doing the things that actually make a difference. And one of the things that you talked about, Roy, was you go to the gym to push it out, right? You go to the gym to be able to maintain yourself. And
But but what you're saying there, and I'm gonna kind of jump into what you're saying because I think this is a good point for people to understand. So I used to go to the gym after work. So everything that bottled up in me for the day of work, I would go to the gym and I would push it out, right?
mhm,
So I used to go to the gym after work, not before. Well, you get out of work, right? And we close at 5 o'clock or whatever. I mean, I can go anytime. Again, I'm the business owner, but I'm a workaholic. So if you know me, I work a lot. I because it's not work to me. I love what I do. So bottom line, but I used to go after work. And the same thing happened to me, is your relationship. There was
mm,
a time when we did take a vacation and we're laying in bed, me and my wife, and my wife says to me, like, listen, like this is not working. It's 100% not working. And I'm
mm,
like, and I had no idea. And she's like, you go to work, then you go to the gym, and by the time you get home, it's like you're eating and then it's over and I don't ever see you, right?
yeah,
And I had to make the decision right then and there that I always hated going to the gym in the morning because I felt like I was just like I couldn't do as much. I couldn't lift
mm,
as much. Like and also I don't go to the gym for that. I go to the gym to get stuff out, right? I go to the
yeah,
gym to close my day before I go home. But I knew that I had to make a sacrifice and I had to make a decision. Do I, what's more important, right? Is my spouse, is my family, is my wife, more important, and so I did that. I started getting up early and I started going to the gym before work and I started being able to change to hold that
mm,
in, right? And just do it in the morning. But I made that, and it's things like that that people have to understand is the people that love us, right? The people that actually 1,000,000% love us, right? That are your support system. They're going to give you support, but they're also going to give you triggers that you need to recognize, right?
mm, mm,
And this is the major thing that people need to understand is we all have the exact same amount of time in a day. We all have the same amount of time, right? But how is there people that are so successful that own multi-million-dollar companies, that are serial entrepreneurs, that are all these types of things? It's figuring out time management is the number one key right? And
Mm.
then the second key to success that I would say is who you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
If you're a business owner, it's who you can get on your team, right? It's your team because you're only one person, right? You
Yeah.
are absolutely 100% one person. And it's surrounding yourself with people that can do things and basically replace you so that you can continue to grow and be
Hmm.
successful. It's so interesting, like where you come from, JR, working for a large company, but even, working for a smaller company that has focus. Like people can go and work for a team and not be an entrepreneur, but they can work for a smaller team that has core values, that have
Yeah.
mission statements, that have an owner with a true vision and that cares about them. And it's not about the money that they make. It's about what they
Right.
do every single day and what they enjoy, right? And how they enjoy it and the people they surround themselves with. And knowing that what they're doing every single day is making a difference in people's lives, right?
Yep.
And you're fulfilling yourself that way. It's fulfillment of life, right? It's fulfillment of life. And some people are made to become trendsetters. Some
Yeah.
people are made to be that way. And some people are made to help somebody become a trendsetter because listen, everybody that's out there, every single person that's out there has people that help them become a trendsetter. There's no such thing as Elon Musk being who he is without people that are helping him be that way. They may be the quiet person in the background, but trust me, they are there. And he couldn't be where he's at. The Jeff Bezos of the world, the Steve Jobs of the world. There's no way. It's all about your team, right? And at the end of the day, we said this so many times, JR, at the end of the day, you can't take any of this stuff with you,
Right.
right? So you've got to figure out what makes you tick and you've got to go after it because time is short, right? The time is precious. But you're not going to get anywhere in life. Right. And I don't care what social media says. I don't care what these new type of people say. Like, you can't get things fast, right? You can't. It's about hard work, dedication, resilience, being great communicator. I mean, great communication with people, being, creating culture, building a team, all of these types of things, right? And you have to have people within your corner that always lift you up, that tell you
Mm.
you can become better. That's the biggest thing, right? That's the biggest thing, guys, is you always have to have that. If you're surrounding yourself with people that are not constantly telling you you can become more, you need to get away from those people and
Yeah.
you need to find people that can make you the best person you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and actually even what you just mentioned there, even Tiffany's response to my story, she said that her son told her that he got his mom back when she left that other company and that she had to reevaluate her values and her priorities. And so that's the same type of thing is like what is the thing that makes us do what we do? What are our values? And what's important because that's truly how to get to that breakthrough, right? That's it, I mean, and the success, it's different for every single person. I talk about that my purpose in life is to help people achieve their definition of success, whether personally or professionally, because we have different definitions, and to do so through positive influence and trusted relationships. But that's what their values are. That's what their beliefs are. And we need to know that for ourselves, right? So that then we can have those breakthroughs when we are feeling that burnout. So we can get to that next level, and maintaining the energy and focus that we need to be able to get to that level. And so with regard to staying focused, staying energized, and all those different things, viewers, I'm actually going to post this in the chat for you all. So if you could, viewers, share in the chat your personal recharge habit using the hashtag burnout to breakthrough. But then what is your personal recharge habit? Because Roy was talking about some of his habits. talking about whether it is going to the gym and pushing things out, talking about what he does in terms of, reevaluation. Some people's habits include meditation, right? Some people's habits include prayer. So I'll tell you, for me personally, the habits that help me maintain energy and focus, it has been number one, prayer. And I know we're talking about a lot of spirituality right now, and this isn't intended for us to evangelize, so viewers don't take this wrong, but both Roy and I do agree and believe that there's a higher power that's taking care of us. And so,
Yeah.
that's a huge element for me to maintain energy and focus is prayer and being, getting to that point where I have that connectedness internally and with my belief in my faith. Another thing that I do to maintain energy and focus, I've talked about this in a session maybe few weeks ago, a month ago, I don't know, but I had a director who went on this roadshow of training across the upper Midwest, and it was doing the thing gives you energy to do the thing. So actually taking action as opposed to just talking about it, as opposed to just dreading it. There's even a book called Eat the Frog. And, with Eat the Frog, the whole concept is there's something that you don't want to do because people don't really just want to just eat a frog, you know? And so in that concept of eat the frog, it's whatever that frog is that you don't want to eat, do it. Do it first thing in the morning. Get it out of the way as quickly as possible because then you're going to have energy and being able to move forward. So those are some things that I do to try to stay focused, to maintain my energy. And for people who have met me in person, maybe it's coming through this live stream. I have a lot of energy, right? I'm high extrovert. I'm always drawing energy from other people. And by the way, that's actually probably another good point for me in terms of how I maintain my energy is you all. And part of why I really enjoy this session is because we get to talk with you all. We get to have an interaction with you in the chat. I am high extrovert when it comes to style preferences, which means I draw energy externally. That means I draw energy from the things around me, whether it's people, the environment, or whatever. And so sometimes I just need to do that. Actually, come to think of it, Roy, just the other day, I was working from home. We're in that environment where we get to work from home. And then I just felt like, ick, this just wasn't I just didn't feel great about it. And I realized, like, well, because I was just sitting in front of a computer all day long and I wasn't really trying to find ways to get my energy from something. Like I didn't have a lot of telephone conversations. It was just in front of a computer. And so I realized, nope, yep, I'm going to make sure that I go somewhere tomorrow where I am with people, even if it's just office hours at the Center Club, which I'm streaming from the Center Club today, but I'll go and get my energy in that way. And so, Tiffany, I see you commented here that you recharge by writing, then using an open mic events. Yes, I can't wait to attend some of your open mics, but it allows letting go, catalyzing letting go, and allowing you to energize. Matthew, you recharge both sitting down with your brother or significant other, taking 2 to 3 hours to do nothing. Love that. Love that. So, Royce, from your perspective, what habits have helped you maintain your energy and focus aside from the things you've already touched upon?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one is setting a plan in
Mm,
your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly life of what you're trying to achieve.
mm,
And I'm a big guy that sounds like, what do you mean you do this? But I'm a visual guy, so I'm the kind of guy that in my closet when I'm, getting dressed every single day behind my clothes. I can move them, and I have like pictures of that keep me on track that say to me like, this is what you're doing today. Like this is what you're here for. This is
yeah,
what this is what you're working towards, right? And those are goals. Those are
yeah,
things that I'm a goal reacher. I want to reach goals, right? I don't want things to stand in my way. And if there is things in my way, then I figure out how to maneuver and go around them. I mean, I've done that my entire life. So I think that and same thing, man, is like I've said this before, but I get up in the morning, I get up before anybody else, and the first thing I do is I go turn on the TV and I go to YouTube and I have like a motivational section, man.
Mm,
Matthew McConaughey, Denzel
yeah,
Washington. I don't care what it is, man, but I put that on like the second I wake up, man, and listen to it. Just put it in the background while I'm making my coffee. Just put it in the background while I'm waking up, right? But it's getting me in this absolute mindset to crush that day. And you're opening your day in a mindset, right? You're putting
mm,
yourself in a mindset that is a positive mindset. So it's a hack, it's a trick that I just figured out, right? That no matter what a day, the sun is going to rise and the sun is going to set, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
whatever happens in a day, you got to know that you can push yourself to the next level and you can wipe out what you did the day before, especially if it was a bad day, and take on the day. But that's two of the main things
yeah,
I do, man, is wake up, boom, put that on. Second is, at the point that I'm getting dressed to leave the house, like because I go to the gym, but then I come back, I get dressed to leave to go to work, to go to the office, or to plan my day, meetings, whatever it is, and I
yeah,
look at that. I look at
yeah,
that because that's the time that I'm walking out of the house, and you gotta, like you said, you gotta make the best of your time, man. We all have the same amount of time, but you got to figure out what that is, right? And you
yeah.
got to push yourself.
Yeah, I imagine too that there are some of our viewers who watch or listen to motivational videos or podcasts. So do me a favor in the chat, put chat in there who your favorite motivational videos are, or what the different motivational videos are and whatnot. So we can have a little bit of a library of that because that is critical. There are some YouTube channels that I subscribe to that have that daily motivational piece. There are some celebrities, like Roy talked about, that have really, really great audio clips out there for motivation. I even leverage like a daily devotional as well. So, if you all could put that into the chat, and I'll drop a note so people know what the heck we're talking about. Put in the chat what are some of the different motivational videos, YouTube channels, whatnot, to be able to help you get motivated. So actually, you know what? It's funny, Roy. In terms of your comments, the question I have is, we work really hard. We work really hard as entrepreneurs. We work really hard as leaders. Claudine, thank you for chatting in. Quiet time to reflect, but having deep discussions with people to connect recharges you. David, you talk about fasting and walking. But anyway, we hustle, right? So, Roy, how do you distinguish between productive hustle and unhealthy overwork?
Man, it's a balance with inside you. You know yourself better
Yep.
than anyone that, and you have got to have your own check and balance system. See, that's the thing, man, is people are waiting for somebody to shine light into them. Yes, you can have coaches, you can have consultants, but at the end of the day, you've got to make that sacrifice. You've got to make that change. You got to make that determination to become more or change what you're doing, and decide at some point in time where you want to be and where you want to go, right? And I say this all the time, but you've got to know within your head that the word quit does not exist, right?
Mm,
It doesn't exist, right?
yeah.
In your head, it doesn't exist. I don't care what anybody else says, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are your own worst enemy, right? And
Yeah.
you are your own best
Yeah.
person, right? To look at yourself and say, these types of things. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is that, right? If you want to get to the next level, you can get a coach, you can get a consultant, but at the end of the day, they're only going to help you as much as you want to help yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is the key. I think, some of you may know and some of you don't, but I graduated high school with a fourth grade reading level. I never went to college, right?
Mm-hmm.
If people told me I was going to, be working at a pizzeria, so I went to work. I did from high school. I went to work at CC's Pizza, 3.99, all you can eat pasta, pizza, salad, and dessert, and $1.09 for a drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to people, and then finally I realized, no, I'm meant to be more, right? I'm meant to become more. And my motivation was that my mom had raised me as a single parent mom, worked 3 jobs, and I said I want to always be able to give back to her and make her life easier. And that was my gut, my determination
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't going to be able to do that working at a freaking pizzeria, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was destined to figure it out. But I think the most important thing is figuring out where you want to go, what you want to do, and then getting a cheering party to help you get there too. It's so, so important. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
family, we talk about friends, we talk about mentors, we talk about coaches, we talk about consultants. We talk about these things. You have to have somebody in your corner that is cheering you on, that is helping you remember the vision to all of those types of things. Because most people aren't me. They're not going to get up in the morning. They're not going to watch this. They're not going to look in their closet. Those are my hacks, right?
Yeah.
Some people need more. They need more. So that's where I say that. But the most important thing, man, is silencing the noise
Mm.
of negativity. Silencing the noise of negativity. If you get up in the morning, or you in a day, man, you turn on the freaking news, like something's wrong with you.
Dude.
Like something's wrong with you. Like that is the absolute 100% worst thing that you can do. Listen, if these things that you see every single day are affecting you and you have no control of them, you shouldn't be seeing them, because bottom line, there's a ton of things that happen in this world
Yeah.
and I cannot do anything about it, right? The things that I can do is the things that are in my control, my business, my friends, my family, my partner, all of these things. That's what I hear about. I'm not saying don't know what's going on in the world, but if you are pushing in things and you're listening, you're just a puppet. You're just a freaking
Mm.
puppet. You're a fucking puppet in this world. Like you're listening to shit that does not in any way, shape, or form harm in your life. So that's the first thing that you need to push out is
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah. 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 And so that's, part of the thing about like what is healthy, what's good for you, what's bad for you, things like that. And I think to me, really, when thinking about healthy type of activity, productive hustle versus unhealthy overwork, because leaders, entrepreneurs, a lot of times will just, work, 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 and it's unhealthy. Really, I think that a distinguishment there would be what is the actual value, right? Because value is determined cost versus benefit. The benefit is like what you get out of it. The cost isn't just money. Cost is energy, effort. Cost is your health, right? And so if the benefit outweighs the cost, then there's value. But if the cost outweighs the benefit, then there's low or no value. And so that can be a way to be able to distinguish, is this productive hustle or not? You know, I spend a lot of time networking. I do. And people know that. And so on one hand, it's great hustle. On the other hand, sometimes I even ask myself, well, just how productive was that hustle? Was it really helping me achieve my objective? Was it value there? Did I have more benefit than the cost of driving wherever, spending time wherever, that energy, so on and so forth. So it's absolutely critical that we really know our why, or it's even the whiffum, the what's in it for me. We need to know those things so that then we can achieve the things that we want to. So we can, work towards the things that are important for us. And we've said it a lot in this particular session. It's all here. It's all here for us. Nobody knows it but us, right? Nobody knows what's important but us. Yeah, we can certainly
Absolutely.
relate to other people with their experiences, don't get me wrong, but like nobody knows it. And so we have to make sure that we know it so well that we're living by it, right? So then we're able to continue to move forward. As we're getting closer to the end here, viewers, actually, I'm curious, what's on your mind? What's on your mind around going from burnout to breakthrough? What is a nugget you would like to share with all of us that has been helpful for you? Even maybe in today's session, what stood out to you that's like, huh, oh boy, yep, I'm going to start applying that, right? Because these sessions, it isn't just for you to just to sit here and watch. I know that you all join us every week because you want to be able to gain something from it. I want you to chat in, what are some of the things, some of those nuggets of wisdom that you can share, or what is something that you're going to be doing differently because of this conversation? Oh, and oh, by the way, if you watch the recording and you see me like this and I look like I'm frozen, I look like I'm injured, I was typing. I saw it come up and I thought, oh my gosh, that's really interesting.
It's interesting that you brought up JR. I'll bring it up is you said networking, right? So I network a lot as well, right? But I've got a lot of things going on with the business right now and businesses that I have, right? And I'm really like I really sat down just the other day and I started writing down the different networking events that I
Mm,
go to and how many new people I meet and how many new opportunities I get with everything that's going on. I got to cut back on networking right now. Anyways, I've just got a
mm,
lot of, we're getting ready to move and we've got a lot of things going on, but I really started looking at them and I started saying like, where is the opportunities coming from, right?
yeah,
Where is the new opportunities come from? And then where am I? Don't get me wrong, I love people. I love seeing the same people too, but I'm seeing
yeah,
the same people. Like that's not necessarily like if I'm away from the office and I'm doing so, that's not necessarily is it gaining me that the ability to become bigger, stronger, better myself, right? And if I'm seeing the same people, right, what am I gaining out of this? So it's really interesting that I think the biggest thing that I would say here is again, this is just a lesson for everybody is you always have to reevaluate. You always
yeah.
have to reevaluate every single thing that you're doing. Just like we said, there's only a certain amount of time in your life. There's only a certain amount of time in your day. Are you being as productive as you can?
Yeah.
And are those things bringing you to the next level? Are they valuable? And I can tell you some networking places that I've been, I just went to one that was 100 million% a startup. Like it was the entire room was startups. Now I'm pouring information into other people, which I do love to do sometimes, like we're doing here, Secrets for Success. But it's not my room. Like
Yeah.
I was giving advice. I didn't learn something, but I did learn. I learned that that wasn't the networking event for me. You know, if I'm putting in a full day and I'm going somewhere after work, this was after work. It wasn't a good use of my time. So,
Mm. Hmm.
and I'm not trying to say it in a disrespectful way, right? But
Yeah.
it's those types of things. So I think reevaluating yourself, but only you can do it. You
Yeah.
can do this yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the theme that has sort of weaved all throughout the conversation, our topic being from burnout to breakthrough, how to stay energized, focused, and unstoppable in 2025. It is that self-awareness. It is that taking the moment and the time to reevaluate, taking the time to recharge, and making sure that we are doing the things that matter most. Earlier you had mentioned about making a difference. And so a lot of people know that I want to be known as the madman. And when I say that, it's not mad from anger and emotion. It's not mad from like mad, crazy good times. It's an acronym that I'm someone who makes a difference. So I shared what my purpose was earlier, but as an identity, besides the mustache guy, I want to be known as a madman that makes a difference. And that's what's important to me. And that's what I continue to go back to when I'm reevaluating, when I'm thinking about what is my objective and what are the things that I'm doing that might be preventing me from that, that might be, burning me out, all those different things. And so it's funny because, thank you in the chat, you all are talking about the being productive. You are talking about, not just busy. You're
Yeah.
talking about the why, all those things. And so this might just be that kick in the pants for us to say, all right, yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's do this. And I mean, as I'm saying that, I'm saying that to myself too. This isn't
Yeah.
just, the viewers. It's like, okay, well, really, what am I doing? Is this the right thing? Is this helping me achieve my objectives? Am I burning out? And I'm going to take this burnout to breakthrough because I'm taking that moment to reevaluate and say, you know what? This is what I need to do. And so it's so important. We all have that objective. We all have that vision. I talk about it almost every single week. Like a GPS device, we need to know our destination. And so we're going to work toward it. And when something comes up, just like when you're driving, if there's an accident or a detour, it recalculates us to get to where our destination is. And so remember that as we're thinking about, gosh, am I burning out here? Is it helping us achieve our ultimate goal and objective in getting to that destination? So, Roy, final
Yeah.
thoughts from you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say 100% evaluate, we're in August, right,
I
of
know, golly.
2025, and it's flown by, right? I mean, 8 month, we're in the eighth month of the year. Time goes by very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think I have to say this, like in high school, I felt like it was time stood still, right? But then when I graduated, and this was a long time ago, I'm not a young pup, right? But it was like once I graduated, it was like time went by so quick. And now, man, time just flies by, like
Yeah.
flies by. I can't even believe we're in the eighth month of the year. Like
Yeah.
it's insane to me to think that we're already in August.
Yeah.
So, these things that we're discussing are so, so important to you as an individual, to your life,
Hmm.
right? Are you where you want to be? Are you on track? Or is that GPS bringing you to that destination? And if it's not, how do you get on track? Number one is you got to figure it out for yourself. And then number two is figure out the absolute best support system to get you on that track. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. It's
Hmm.
vital that you get it or you put it in place, right? And that is 100% the people that you surround yourself with on a daily, a weekly, and a monthly basis, right?
Yeah.
And that is some things that we were talking about, like in networking. Networking is a way to find somebody that is a lot smarter than you and that could coach you or mentor you, that
Hmm.
their contacts or them being a contact to you can bring value to your life.
Yeah.
So it's those types of things that you got to look at. But yeah, I mean, I love doing this every single week. I believe that anybody can do anything they want in this world. They just got to put in the grit, determination, resilience, and not quit, right?
Yeah.
Because life is not easy. It's
Right.
hard. It's that way.
It's short.
I'll say it, man. Sylvester Stallone, right? Nothing hits harder than life.
Yeah.
Nothing hits harder than life. That's one quote from him.
Yeah.
Life is always going to hit you hard, man. It's sometimes it's not the wins, it's the failures, but you just keep getting back up, right? And
Yeah.
you keep
Exactly.
fighting. And that's life, man. That's challenges. So
Yeah.
know that JR and I are here every single week to pour into you guys, to pour into anybody that ever listens. We're here to give you advice. We're here to do whatever we can to make it better. I take this time out. I love doing this. I love the ability to know that we're somehow making a difference in this world, right? That we're helping people become better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it, JR. We'll see you next week. If you got anything, JR, and then we're good to go, brother.
So I'll just say one last thing. It's actually two things. One, as we're talking about networking, I just facilitated a session. So when you all are networking, really think about the purpose of networking is to expand your reach, one, but then also determining fit. So that's going to help you with whether or not it's actually valuable for you. So think about that as you're networking. And then the other thing I'll say is we've talked about having the right people around you, supporting you, the right support system. That includes hiring. And so this is a plug. I mentioned this in prior episodes. Later on this month, we have an event, the Hiring Academy live event. It's free on August 27th. So DM me directly. It's limited to 50 participants. So DM me directly if that's something you'd be interested in making sure that you can figure out how to hire not just your employees, not just contractors, vendors, whoever, to be able to help you in your success. So again, thank you for joining us every single week. We are so excited to have this level of engagement. Thank you all for chatting with us, and we look forward to seeing you again in future episodes. Take care, everyone.